Hello everyone, my name is Holly and today I am going to be recommending you some engrossing, binge-worthy books that kept me up late into the night, desperately trying to finish to find out how they ended. Books that you will not want to put down, or when you eventually do fall asleep and maybe you didn't finish the book, you wake up in the morning and that book is all you think about. I even have some heckin' big books in this video that I'll be showing you, and I still think they are bingeable, so we are putting down your fear of big books today. I actually have a decent range of fantasy, sci-fi, and horror, which is great. I'm ticking off all of the genre boxes today, but before I show off this great list of books, I want to give a thank you to today's sponsor, which is glassesusa.com, who I am very happy to be working with yet again. So I own quite a few pairs of glasses now, and every single pair is from them, and I love them all so much. So if you are not familiar with glassesusa.com, they are an online glasses retailer who basically cut out the middleman, so it allows shopping for glasses at an extremely affordable price. They have thousands of frames to choose, from eyeglasses to sunglasses, prescription, non-prescription. Everything is super convenient if you're shopping on their site. Not only is everything sent directly to your door, but they also have online tools like the online try-on tool to see what the frames will look like on yourself before you actually make that purchase. I of course have an exclusive offer for you, which I will link down below for you, but I do have a bit of a glasses haul today. All the frames are very different. The first are the pair that I'm actually wearing right now. I really went out of my comfort zone with these, as I've never owned a colored pair of glasses before. I always stick to my neutrals, but these have like a blue tint to them. I think they're really fun though and stand out since they are a bigger frame. They're really lightweight though, comfortable to wear around the house. They are just super chill. And the next pair are also very different. In fact, I was a little worried when I chose these, but now I do find myself gravitating toward them. As you can see, the tops of them have a thick rim while the bottoms do not. They are slightly oversized, but not too much where they like overtake your whole face. I think they're cute and sturdy and also like a really big trend right now. GlassesUSA.com also offers a collection of advanced blue light blocking lenses, which I actually added to these. Blue light glasses are ideal for protecting your eyes at home, work, or outdoors, so I'll be using these as I spend hours editing my videos. And the last pair I already have gotten a lot of use out of. They might just look like a simple pair of silver wire frames, but I've made these into my transition pair. So the lenses darken the moment the sun hits them and it protects my eyeballs. Honestly, I really love these ones. Alrighty, and that is my GlassesUSA.com haul. I highly recommend checking them out. They offer free shipping and returns plus 100% money back guarantee within 14 days. So truly, it's a risk-free shopping experience. Click the link down below, and thanks again to them for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so I'm going to start with the book that actually inspired this video, and that is The Justice of Kings. In fact, in my short Goodreads review, I even said I stayed up until 3 a.m. finishing this book, and it's true. I mean, to be fair, that's not too far off from my normal bedtime, because normally I'm like vegging out on YouTube videos, but in this case, which is rare, I was sucked into a book. This has absolutely become a new favorite book of mine, and it's a fantasy unlike anything I've read. It's so different from where normally when you think of a fantasy, you think of a group of heroes undertaking a magical quest or saving the world from an evil threat. Instead, here they grapple with the morality of justice in law. This book is primarily a murder mystery, but with a large focus on grand political maneuverings behind the scenes, like unraveling a conspiracy. The wife of a nobleman is murdered, and Von Volt, right here, our man of the law, decides to be the primary investigator. It made me so incredibly invested in the story from beginning to end, and don't let that deter you that this book isn't magical, because it is. There is necromancy, shape-shifting, and other forms of magic mixed in to keep it interesting. Plus, the book is told through the point of view of his clerk, Helena. She narrates the story many years after the events, reflecting on how things came to be and what became of Von Volt. How she wished things could have been done differently, and it makes you obsessed with wanting to know the outcome and makes you believe that something horrible must have happened. The story overall feels sobering, and because of that, the characters are so compelling, and you want to know the rest of the story because of that, and I can't stand having to wait for book 2. This is one of those books which gives you like sweaty palms because the end is so thought-provoking as hell. It is powerful, and the reason why I almost pulled an all-nighter. If you enjoy murder mystery fantasy with a mix of like empire-wide turmoil. Check this one out as soon as you can. So next up, I'm going to throw in not just one book, but an entire series, and that is the Shattered Sea trilogy. Oh my god, if you like watching my videos, if you are a Holly Hearts book fan and want to do me a huge favor, then you need to read these. These books have defined my YouTube channel, honestly. It would be nothing like it is today without this series. And listen, I know that's dramatic as hell, but it's true. These are probably the fastest reads on this list. I'm only going to hold up the first book, but if you're looking to get into Joe Abercrombie, but maybe the First Law universe intimidates you, then please give these a try. It follows a young disabled boy who was groomed to be a minister, and because of his disability, he's viewed as not strong enough, but suddenly he is forced to take up the mantle as king, and he gathers an unexpected alliance. This is a fast-paced and breathtaking read. Abercrombie takes his readers through so many twists and turns, and it's just crazy that he managed to write a full high fantasy experience in only like 330 pages. It's a book I finished within a day, which is really rare for me. In fact, I remember trying so hard to find like blocks of time to read these because it was so addicting. And honestly, it still stands out to be my all-time favorite series. Like, it takes the #1 spot for me, even though it's been many years since I've read it. Watching Yarvi grow and gain confidence, his development is so fun to watch. I highly recommend trying out this series. They're all very short, and like I said, binge worthy. I desperately need a reread soon. Up next, I have The World Gives Way. This is a book I have not heard enough people talk about, and it breaks my freaking heart because it was so different and such a bingeable sci-fi. That's right, a sci-fi. This is an interesting one too, because normally when you think of a binge-worthy read, you think of something action-packed, and this is not that. It's not even space opera. In fact, it all takes place on a giant spaceship that is constructed to be like Earth. There are cities and oceans, roads to drive on, but the plot surrounds a mechanical failure happening that our main character, who's the only citizen that is aware of it. The spaceship, or the world, is about to end. There was so much that I loved about this book, and the thing that stands out still is the gradual suspense and anticipation of the central end of the world conclusion. Like, is it really going to happen? The end seems inevitable, but is the author really just going to like kill off everyone? Will someone figure out a way to stop it? All answers I know, but I can't tell you because you just have to read it to find out. It is like a fever dream of questions based on what would you do on the last day of your life. So yes, it's very hard-hitting questions, and she's having to deal with all of that in the midst of a murder where she's being chased by police while taking care of a baby. Strong, independent woman. I was so invested in their lives, and again, it has you desperately reading to reach the end. This feels like a book where if you're not much of a reader, like you don't read that often, or maybe you don't reach for sci-fi, this is a great place to dive into because you're in the vicinity of space, but it just feels like a crime noir in a way. The Bladed Faith, I originally didn't know what to expect going into this one, having read this author's previous series, which I really enjoyed. And wow, did he bring his awesomeness even more to the table. This is a fantastic start to a new series. The very first thing that jumps out at you is the depth and richness of the world building. And to be honest, the story begins like at a sprint. We see a young prince who is watching his home being invaded, his family torn apart. We see him created into this superhero fighting machine with a mask and cape and all, with a group of friends who fight to take his home and throne back. It's certainly a revenge plot. It's not like trying to hide that, but it's just so darn fun to read, and the stakes get higher and higher the farther you get into the plot. It's one of those special books that you think about wherever you are and can't wait to get back into. I can say with confidence that there's not a single part of this book that doesn't fully engage you in some way and keeps you interested. It's a story about perseverance in the face of overwhelming odds. It's a story that shows you not just glimpses, but freaking light shows of magic that is both mysterious and powerful. This isn't like a run-of-the-mill fantasy where the story just plods along and a few things happen here and there. This is a festival of fantasy that excels in the storytelling and character relationships, and it will totally suck you in and have you showing up at work groggy-eyed from many late-night reading sessions. The Hunger of the Gods. Yes, this is a sequel, so I won't be going into depth about anything story-related, but if you've read the first book, The Shadow of the Gods, then you probably have a really good idea on the reason why the sequel was unputdownable, and one where you needed to know the answers. As with any good Norse-influenced tale, the action is still aplenty and bloody, but there's just something about a sequel to a book you really enjoyed that makes it even more a faster read because you're already acquainted with the main characters, their attitudes, their struggles, their best and worst moments. Those of you who enjoy battles and multiple POVs where they all eventually converge on one another with all of the baggage that comes along with that, will find lots of things like that to get excited about in any John Gwynne book, honestly. There's also a great deal of scheming involved in the story, which I personally love, being a huge fan of fantasy with lots of like political intrigue and backstabbing. This is another reason why I felt like this book had more depth than just a simple retelling based on like Norse history and mythology. The series overall deserves to be read since Gwynne makes it his own. If you are looking for a new saga tale to sink your teeth into, do yourself a favor and pick up the first book, The Shadow of the Gods. And lastly, one of the most memorable books where I clearly remember not being able to put down is Mexican Gothic. As someone who loves horror but doesn't pick it up a lot in book format, this was a huge surprise for me. It was one of my favorite books the year it came out. It had everything you could ever ask for in a Gothic story, and I've read a few other Gothic horror stories since this one that still haven't lived up to this. The book takes place in 1950s Mexico, and it begins with our young, wealthy socialite main character being summoned by her cousin, who she claims that her new husband is poisoning her and that their estate is haunted. Immediately upon her arrival, it becomes apparent that she is not welcome by anyone living at this decaying, moldy estate, especially as she is attempting to take her cousin away. Enter a bunch of strange noises, foggy courtyards, and a mysterious illness that has like a parasitic quality to it. You have the recipe for a perfect horror story. I love it when books get under your skin and makes you wary for what will happen next, and I really think it engages the reader with its like slow building suspense, though Silvia Moreno Garcia's writing definitely helps with it being bingeable. It immersed me from the first chapter and did not let up until I finished the story. There is so much foreshadowing that allowed for excitement for the conclusion to just build and build. I just loved it. A lot of people actually hate the main character, but I actually found it ironic and fitting for her sass to be invited into this like decrepit, creepy environment. It was just perfect. Alright, so those are some books that I read so freaking fast and kept me up late into the hours of the morning and have the potential to be binge-worthy reads for you as well. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you pick up one of these. Tell me down below some books that you could not put down and completely consumed your brain, because I would love to know. Before you leave, don't forget to check out glassesusa.com. They will be the first link you see in the description box. And until we meet again, happy reading.